Good day, everybody. This is Yin Yang with Morsels with thought number 1584. The number in the title is wrong. It should be 1584. And it is 10:10 my time. I come on 4 hours later if I miss the time slot because I've overslept. So please forgive me today. It is 4 hours late. I do that to make sure that people don't have to wait. It's 6:30. Oh gosh, she's not here yet. So we just do it 4 hours later at 10:10. If I miss 6:10, I'm actually thinking maybe we should go to the 15th of the hour. Um, maybe. So I'm thinking, and that's not today yet, but we shall see. And today we are on page 68 of Henning Morales's book, The Dirt Merchants, the Highway Edition, a novel by Henning Morales. It's a coming of age adventure, a triumph, and it is a true story. So here we are. We've read up to page 68. The 1584. I'm so sorry the title's wrong, but I said 1010 today, so I'm not changing that. Okay. Quote: After you tell them your story or during the story, they will usually ask a question. They will ask what it is, or what are you talking about, or something. Tell them you'll show them. Then you walk them to the display. Always put something in their hand right away. The weapon of choice is the piece pliers set. It folds up like this, and they can open it up with both hands. If they're interested in something, they will usually ask the price right away. Don't tell them the price right away. Make them work for it. Make them want it. Make them ask the price 3 times. And you change what you want. You see these prices on the boxes? Those are suggested prices, and we usually mark down 50% and then negotiate. As long as you sell above wholesale price, you make money. When we get back to the office, we settle up with Rose and keep the difference. Here's the consignment sheet with the wholesale prices. Consignment is where we pay for what we sell when we get back to the office. Sorry. Okay. Sometimes it's a good deal for the customer, and sometimes it isn't such a good deal. Doesn't matter. We're just two traders. 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 He wants the merchandise, and I want him to have it. Get it? Spencer nodded. Not only did he get it, now it dawned on him why all the clipboards, why the fuss when Frankie wanted more merchandise. Frankie wanted more so he could display and sell more, and the boss wants to limit it because he's loaning the merchandise, and the more he loans, the more risk of loss, theft, damage, and how these guys and the boss made money. A simple markup to the sellers. Although he was gaining more confidence in Paul, it was hard to imagine him being that suave and being able to sell anything. Quote, now comes the close. If he asks for the price 3 times, you tell them the suggested retail price, then what we're asking. You never say the price is. Just say, you can take it for this, or it's going for that. You'll learn how to negotiate the price too. You'll see that I don't go down on the price right away. Go down in small increments. Brian is going to teach you various closes. If you can make it till Friday, if you can make it till Friday. He smiled slightly. Rehash is simple. Sell more. Once someone buys from you, sell him again. He already likes you or your prices or your merch. Now is your chance to load him up. Give him a better deal. Break even on the next piece. There are contests and sales quotas for you to meet. So sometimes it pays to break even on the next sale. Some guys break even for the bonus and the contest money. You already made money on the first sale. Come at him again and give the goober a break. Goober? Yeah, goober. A guy that buys. Spencer nodded and smiled approvingly. Your job for most of the day is to watch me do it. The most important thing is to see lots of people. You'll close one out of five. It's numbers, like dice. It's called the law of averages. On a good day, you'll close one in three, but don't count on it, not at the beginning. If you see 100 people, you'll close 20 sales. Make an average of $5 a sales, and whammo, you made $100. It's just numbers. I may not be the best, but I can see a lot of people. Now I'll be wasting a lot of time teaching you today, but I keep all the money. Get it? If they let you ride with someone good tomorrow, which I doubt because you don't have a car, you can make some money. So watch and learn. I'll do the pitching. Wait in the car and come out slowly when I get the first person to the trunk. Come out slowly so you can see what I'm doing and learn something. Pay attention to how I do it. If you come too fast, you could scare them. Oh, last but not least, some people are just negative. They're pissed off at the world. They're pissed because they're broke. They're pissed because their wife is not talking to them. Whatever the hell. That's not your problem. Your problem is getting these pieces off. You never know when you're going to get a real negative idiot. When that happens, just walk away. Don't be a Frankie. That guy is going to get himself killed one day. This is not a real bad neighborhood. We don't usually hit really bad spots, but we're close. You're going to be tempted to say something back. Just walk away. Some people look down on us, but what do you care what they think? Oh, and we don't pitch women unless you feel like wasting time you could be spending pitching and closing. That's interesting. We don't pitch women. I'll tell you something about yesterday. I worked at a rummage sale and I was doing the negotiating. And the hardest I ever worked for $3.50 was yesterday. I made a couple of nice small sales, 15 cents for a piece of paper and 50 cents for another item, for which a 5-year-old girl came to me. Her mother told her to come pay me. Her mother gave her 2 quarters. She came over to me and she handed me a brand new quarter. And even though I had said it was 50 cents, I smiled approvingly to her and I said, thank you. And then her mother came over later and gave me the other quarter. It was so cute. It was so cute. Anyway, back to this. 12:30 p.m. The display actually looked appealing after Paul got the sockets and wrenches in place. They shut the trunk, jumped into the Cutlass, and began the day. Paul pulled up next to a guy around 20 washing his car, rolled down the window, and asked, Hey, guy, can you use a good bargain? Huh? The young guy just stared, hose in one hand and sponge in another. A bargain. I'll show you. Nah, man, I'm cool. Come on, I'll show you. Paul stumbled out of the car and actually got the guy to come over. Take a look at this 5-piece plier set. Oh, so he stumbles, so the guy comes to help him for a second, and then he reels him in this way, literally. 3:02 p.m. Frankie actually felt relief that Joe wasn't interested. He could spend more time pitching and less time training the ungrateful punk. He got his 10th sale and was free to go home. Frankie's lack of motivation that day, combined with a desire to not be around Joe, was enough to bring him back to the office. It was a good day for Frankie, considering he had managed not to get into any verbal altercations. Always a good thing, especially for the poor slob whose car he's working out of. You never know what the negative guys are going to throw at the car as they drove away. They drove back to the office to settle up and allow the quitter to quit. Jim met them in the parking lot. Uh, Joe, what's the matter? Didn't like our tactics? Jim asked as they got out of the car. Oh no, that's not it. Did Frankie bust your chops? Too bad. You know he's just a big pussy cat. He said it jokingly, at least Joe thought so, but how could you tell? These guys were always smiling. Frankie started unloading the car, watching the master work the trainee. No, I don't care about that, Joe responded respectfully. Do you think selling is beneath you? You know I started in the field. I made 1,000 a week after my first month in. Now I'm rich at 23. Do you know how much I make? Whatever figure you have in mind, double it. Joe didn't mind the pressure. He was just, he was being nice and personable, even though Jim was working him. Jim stared at Joe dead in the eye and said, You know, a sharp, good looking kid like you can make a lot of money with this company. I don't doubt that I could, Joe said it matter of factly. He really wasn't nervous at all. Frankie was taking his sweet time. Well, Paul just called in and said the kid's a natural. He's even doing half of the pitching. It's no wonder that fat slug can hardly get out of the car. Now, how is it that I send you out with one of my best trainers and him with my worst, and he comes out ahead? I could tell that Corralis's attitude was right from the start. He was watching and learning. He's after the result. If you had that kind of attitude, man, yesterday, while he was taking it all in, you were making jokes. Why do you think that is? I couldn't tell you. That kid always does what he wants, so no one can tell him otherwise. But Spence is Spence. I'm not Spence, Joe said. What do you think the problem is? Why don't you want to do this? Joe shrugged his shoulders and smiled. He looked over at Frankie, who was standing there with a bunch of boxes full of American wholesalers' merchandise. You just about done, Frankie boy? Frankie nodded. Well, that's that then. Pleasure, Mr. Braun. Without saying another word, Joe jumped in the car and took off, cranking up Billy Joel's Billy the Kid. He knew Spencer would either call if he needed a ride or make his way back home. Either way, he didn't think about it. 7:05 p.m. Paul and Spencer had listened to the second half of Pyromania for the second time and were finishing their cokes. Compliments of Paul the mailman to congratulate Spencer on a job well done. They crossed the GW Bridge. I think it's George Washington Bridge. They crossed the George Washington Bridge, headed west on Route 80, and made their way to Lodi, pulling off Garibaldi into the parking lot. There were several cars in the lot, and it was bustling with activity. The mailman ended up sending the mailman settled up with Rose for 12 sales, made a measly $50 after tolls and gas, but was still motivated and had a good attitude. Spencer wasn't discouraged by Paul's lack of stellar results. He knew he could do better. The mailman had a creepy approach. He could do better. If the mailman could do it, he could do it twice, 3 times as well. Best of all, for Spencer, he sincerely enjoyed it. At the office, there was a series At the office, there were a series of post interviews and a determination that Spencer would be asked to return for a second day. Jim himself congratulated Spencer and reminded him to study the 8 steps and the 5 steps, that tomorrow he was going to make some money and to make sure he was on time. 8:31 p.m. Spencer called Joe to come get him. Joe came right over. They talked in the car about what had happened. It didn't bother Spencer in the least that Joe didn't make it. It didn't bother Joe that Spencer was going to give it a shot. 8:51 p.m. Spencer's mom was in the living room watching TV with his brother. Hey guys, what's up? Spencer asked, walking in with a smile. He greeted them warmly and didn't know why. His mom turned away from the TV and responded, And why are you gracing us with conversation and not the usual grunts? I trust it went well today. Yeah, how'd you know? Because I haven't seen that pretty smile since I don't know when. Dinner's on the stove. Try and try and not make any noise when you come in tonight. I'm on the early shift tomorrow. I'm just going to eat and get to bed, Mom. Too tired. Plus, have to get up at 6 again tomorrow. The puzzled look on her face was duplicated on her other sons. On weekends and holidays, Spencer was gone. They were used to him being out all the time. He would stay out all night. No one knew where. He would stay at friends' houses, sneak into girls' houses and sleep there, head into the city and stay out all night dancing and partying. He was out doing who knew what with who knew whom, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. Coming home and going to sleep to get up early was somewhat of a shocker. She and her 13-year-old son, stunned for a second, shrugged and went back to MASH on TV. Alan Alda on TV. Oh, in China in 1987, my tour guide said his wife was also a national tour guide and that she had a photo. And he showed us the photo of his wife being the tour guide to Alan Alda and Alan Alda's wife. It was a nice little photo. And I said, Alan Alda is famous in the United States. And he said, yes, I know now. So that was interesting. MASH. Interesting. Spencer grabbed the cold pasta and Italian sausage in tomato gravy, wolfed it down, grabbed a quick shower, set the alarm, and went to bed. 9:26 p.m. Set alarm. 9:28 p.m. to bed. 9:29 p.m. asleep. Now, can you imagine that? Being asleep in 3 minutes after setting your alarm? That's so cool. That's so cool. I've done that before. Last night, after working the rummage sale, I was really tired, and obviously that's how come I overslept. I woke up at 6:10 today, and that's the time of my show. So I said, well, I guess it's at 10:10 this morning. So, chapter 8. Drive all night. The next morning, the alarm rang at 6 o'clock, and Spencer shot right up. He had slept better than he had in as long as he could remember. He had to get up at 6 and instead of 6:30. In case he couldn't hitch a ride, he knew he would have to walk. He needed an hour to shower, get his long wavy hair right, put on the standard rock t-shirt and jeans, eat his usual bacon and eggs, and get out the door. If he had to walk the whole way, he could do it in an hour, although he was confident he would get a ride. It's a numbers game. He walked briskly to River Road and put his thumb out while walking. He left the house with nothing except the two 3x5 cards that he didn't need to look at, since he'd practically memorized them the day before. Today was money day, so no borrowing from Mom. Why carry a wallet when you have no money and you're not driving? A couple of long hairs picked him up after he'd walked only as far as Route 4, about a mile, Route 4. He had let his hair grow and noticed with the long hair he could almost always get picked up by ex-hippies that used to hitchhike but now had real lives in cars. It was like a torch they were passing down. He guessed that they saw the hair and couldn't resist. The hippies were going as far as Route 46 and River Road, far enough. He stuck his thumb out again and started walking along the shoulder of Route 46 and got another ride a couple of blocks into his walk. This time it was a trucker that actually dropped him right at the doorstep of the office at 7:30. He climbed to the top step and looked into the empty dark lobby before sitting down and pulling out the 3x5 cards and went through them again. After 15 minutes, Jim Braun, super yuppie, pulled up in the custom Jag. Man, that's a nice ride. Jim saw Spencer on the stoop and gave him an approving nod. They shook hands and walked inside. As Jim was turning on the lights, air conditioner, and music, Rose walked in, followed by another guy, and then they flooded in, the same as the day before. This time, though, he was inside the secret room, quote, end quote, and the pit, and was blown away by what he experienced. He spent 1 hour observing happy people congratulating each other, pumping each other up, training each other, and working as a team. All the top people in the office introduced themselves to Spencer, welcoming him aboard. He recognized the names Gino Santoro, Kenny Simpson, Cuddy Ryan, Brian Dell, and others from the board in Jim's office. Out of the cool looking ones, one of the cool looking ones was wearing a suit and tie that day. Kenny Simpson was tall and blond with piercing blue eyes. He wore a permanent, good looking red smiling face. He was buff from summers doing construction and pushing a lawnmower around for just over minimum wage. He was 21. Sean, the happy go lucky redhead kid Spencer had met the day before, found Spencer in the pit and said, "You're riding with me today, Tiger. Come with me and help me load up." "Sure, hey, tell me about Kenny," Spencer said as they walked out to the parking lot. Page 78. Kenny is next in line for a promotion into an office. He's legendary, Sean answered. He answered an ad a year ago, just like you and me, and lit the place up. He holds the sales record company-wide of 92 sales in a day. Jim's record of 67 stood for the first year, then guys hit 70 and 86, and finally Simpson's record. After a similar but less hectic morning than the day before, Sean and Spencer drove off in Sean's blue Chevette headed on Route 46 toward the George Washington Bridge. "How do you hit 92 in a day? Seems impossible," Spencer asked. "You could only hit those kinds of numbers on all-nighters," said Sean, sipping on a coffee. "You mean?" "Yeah, all-nighters are always on Fridays and always returning back to the office at noon on Saturday. More people have money on Friday than any other day of the week, so we take advantage." "Where do you pitch in the middle of the night?" "Lots of places. All night factories, all night gas stations, all night diners, drive through parking lots, all night supermarkets, taxi stands, and bar entrances. You can stay busy until around 4, around the time the bars close. Then a quick nap, and Saturday morning you have 5 hours of prime time." We're on page 78. And we shall come back to this later on next Sunday. Henning Morales's The Dirt Merchants, a novel. And I want to say that I hope that you have a great day. I hope that morsels of a thought give you some morsels of a thought of wisdom, even if I'm showing you pitfalls that we want to avoid. So this is not a pitfall. This is a triumph, a true story, a novel. So let's try this again next Monday. It's next Sunday. It's back to Sunday, Sunday, Sunday. And I will see you on Monday. Okay? Old Kinderhut. Bye bye. Old Kinderhut.